Hi, I'm Angel with FleeceOne.com and Shannon Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute cuddle receiving blanket using the sew and flip method. Shannon Fabrics makes these great strip kits, and it's part of this series I'm doing using one single strip kit and a few other materials to make several items, all the items you see in this chair. Now, if you've never done the sew and flip method, this is a great first project because we're going to take it really slow. It's also a lot less intimidating because it's a lot smaller size, so it's a lot easier to work with, so you're not dealing with lots and lots of fabric. So, for this tutorial, you will need the following. You will need one Cuddle Strip Kit, 1 yard of cuddle fabric for the backing, 1 yard and 1/8 of low loft batting, a marker, temporary spray adhesive, walking foot, number 90 stretch needle, rotary cutter, ruler, and mat. Alright, once you have all those items, it's time to get started. Now, something I do recommend is that you check out a couple of tutorials before you get started. One is on the boutique burp claws because I show you tips and tricks on the binding, so I'm going to kind of skip over that in this tutorial, so refer to that tutorial, which you can find here. Also, if you want to learn about the serpentine stitch, go again to the easy burp cloth tutorial. That's a different tutorial, much easier than the the boutique burp cloth tutorial, and review that one as well. Those are two key elements that you're going to need to know about in making this great blanket. So once you have all those items and you've reviewed those tutorials, it's time to get started. Cut the fabric backing to 36 inches by 36 inches. Taking the excess fabric that you just cut off of the backing, cut out 4 2-inch wide strips that are 36 inches in length. Be sure to save the excess fabric for additional projects that we'll be doing. Next, you're going to cut the batting so it's a few inches bigger than the backing, so about 40 inches by 40 inches. Next, you're going to decide which 9 cuddle strips you're going to use in this blanket. Cut 9 of them to 36 inches in length, and again, save the excess for other projects, and be sure to cut off the selvage before you cut it to length. Another tip while you're working with this, it is going to get very fuzzy very fast. All that plush goodness when you cut it goes everywhere, so you're going to want to keep a small vacuum nearby, or wear an apron, and also you are going to want, I just keep one of these right next to my machine this whole time just to keep myself nice and clean while you're working with the cuddle fabric. Here's a tip. You can skip the batting to make a lighter blanket, but for a beginner it's actually easier to sew with the batting as it stabilizes the cuddle fabric. Using a large space on the floor, either pin or tape the edges of the batting down to lightly stretch it out to make it taut. Place paper underneath the edges of the batting to protect your floor from the temporary adhesive spray. Center the fabric on the batting with wrong side facing down. Spray the fabric on the wrong side and then slowly begin to adhere the fabric to the batting, working out wrinkles as you go. If you mess up, quickly but gently lift the fabric up and try again. Once the fabric is attached to the batting, remove from the floor and trim off the excess on your mat. One thing that you do need to be aware of is, and my husband made fun of me when I was making this quilt, is the nap of your cuddle. There's a right way where it lays smooth, and then there's a wrong way. When you push up against it, it's rough. How you want it to lie is a personal preference. I like it when all of them lay in the same direction. So one direction they're all smooth, one direction they're all rough. But my husband kept asking me why I kept petting the fabric, and I was like, no, you don't understand, I'm checking the nap. He's like, is it that soft? I'm like, well, it is that soft, but I need to check the nap. So as you go out and you lay out your pieces, whether it's working on the binding or whether it's working on these strips, pet your fabric. Oh, it feels so good, but pet it to see if it's laying flat or if it's going a little rough, if it's going against your hand. And continue to do that so it just lays all in the same direction. It just makes it look a lot nicer, and it makes the final result very nice as well. Lay out the strips in the desired order. Be sure to check the nap as you go. The nap will either feel smooth or rough. Keep petting your fabric to make sure it all lies in one direction. Once you have your pattern established, take the center strip and fold it in half lengthwise. Mark the fabric along the fold to establish the center line. Next, take the backing and fold it in half with the batting side out. Mark on the batting along the fold to establish the center line on the backing. Unfold the backing and lay out with the cuddle strip still folded in half. Line up the markings and then use the adhesive spray to spray it into place. Now it's time to sew and flip. Make sure the nap is correct. Place the next cuddle strip facing down with right sides together on the center strip. Pin into place. Sew through all the layers of fabric using a walking foot. Use a straight stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once the seam is complete, spray the wrong side of the strip that was just sewn with temporary adhesive and flip into place, working out wrinkles as you go. Keep alternating sides from the center strip. Continue to sew and flip until you reach the edge of the blanket. With the final outer strips, be sure to spray into place. You might have noticed once you've sewn it all together that it's a little uneven. That's okay, that's actually normal. You haven't done anything wrong. What you're going to do is you're going to take your handy dandy rotary blade and your mat, and you're just going to square off those ends. Since cuddle fabric has a stretch to it, there will be excess on the sides. Trim down the excess so it's square with the backing. Next, we're going to be cutting corners on this quilt literally. Take a plate and then round off each of the corners of the blanket using your rotary cutter and mat and the plate. Alright, now it's time to get started on the binding. Again, for detailed instructions, please refer to the binding tutorial. Sew the 2-inch strips together, then sew onto the back using a straight stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then fold over and sew down onto the front using a serpentine stitch. And you're finished. You have a great cuddle blanket that is great for wrapping your kid in. It's great for throwing on the ground for your kid to play on because, hey, cuddle fabric is washable, which is one of its great things. It's a good, versatile blanket that's not too big and bulky that is great for a baby. If you like this tutorial, I have several tutorials in the Nesting the Nursery series that I know you're going to love. All of my patterns and tutorials on fleecefun.com are free, so please check them out. And we'll continue to add videos to the Nesting the Nursery series. Special thanks to Shannon Fabrics for providing this beautiful cloth. Be sure to check out their website at shannonfabrics.com. Stay tuned as I continue to show you how to make all these wonderful items in this chair that we'll be making throughout the series. Have a great day, and remember, velvet is pretentious, fleece is fun.